We are diving into Excalibur 64. This is Fatal Attraction. So, like, suppose they needed to play on the words to try to sell books, I guess. But this was actually a really fun kind of, it's not a murder mystery, but it's a fun mystery issue, I guess the best way to put it. And on top of that, there's also, while you're getting this mystery, there's this huge cosmic thing going on. And that is a majority of the beginning of the book. So spoilers will abound if you have not read this yet and you're wanting to know more about Excalibur and Rachel Summers. You have been warned. So we open up and it says, someone once told Rachel Summers that the moment of death, we relive the memory of our life. Rachel dismissed this myth as romantic fantasy. She was wrong. And what I love here is how the art team really tried to kind of capture the old school era, like Dave Cockrum and the like maybe the early John Romita Jr. and Mark Silvestri art style. Seeing when she was born, the second team of X-Men, of course, leading up to Days of Future Past with Ahab, her becoming a hound, and how she used to hunt her own. And at first, I was a little concerned because as I'm flipping through, I'm loving the pages. The artwork is just flipping astounding. But I was like, please tell me this isn't a flashback issue. I was like, please tell me this is not a whole, like, for example, to kind of go on a little answer, I hate when you're invested in a TV show and you get down the line and then they always hit you with, like, not a backstory episode, but like the ones where, like, they'll have the framing device of like someone in a coma or they're having like a serious conversation. And then the way they fill the time is they do clips of old episodes and stuff. I hate that. And so I was just really hoping this was not the case. The only time that I will let that slide was when they actually did the funeral of Jean Grey. And the majority of the book is Scott flashing back because that really built upon their relationship. So that's the one book that gets a pass. So anyway, we see how she gets Phoenix, how she was trying to be swayed by Selene. And then all of a sudden it says, memories run full circle to a final instant of searing pain, then nothingness. A moment or eternity passes in timeless limbo. Whatever lies beyond death's dark veil, Rachel must wait to know. Fate has granted her a second chance. So after we get all this like mixed memories of like happiness and then really rough subject matter, we see hands flashing up in front with like the flames around it. And so this is called Ascension. Because I'm still alive. It can't be. Necrom had me. I couldn't beat him except by dying. I was dying. I should be dead. Necrom, where is he? So this is Alan Davis, writer and penciler. Mark Farmer doing the inks, Chris Eliopoulos doing the lettering, Glynis Oliver colorist, and then it has been a long day, guys. Excalibur created by Chris Claremont and Alan Davis. So this panel here, even though it's modernized, and I love Alan Davis's work, this is, you can see very much the inspiration directly pulled from Jack Kirby. You can just see kind of that cosmic Fantastic Four style. Like you could almost say that that's Sue Storm with how her hair looks blonde. It's just, you can see how certain artists just built off the legends of the industry. And so this part of the book, she's having a kind of a talk with the Phoenix. Mother, you look like my mother, like Jean Grey. A guise, a physical manifestation for that which has none. This image is no truer than the flaming bird of legend, inspired by the original Pharaoh's vision. My true nature is without form, touching all that lives with neither feeling or awareness. And if the universe is to be free of the cancer I become, I must be so again. And then we cut to this awesome fight. I was like, dang, I want to know more. So here Captain Britain and McGann are fighting, I guess, the Cherubim? Because it says Quill asked Captain Britain to accompany the Cherubim to Cloud9. Anticipating an escalation of hostilities, Fern moved on to McGann. Weird thing is, she didn't struggle, just stared at Cap, sort of memorized. And so what's interesting here is we're getting that third-person narration, but it's not what you think. So as we go through the battle, and it is quite a battle. I don't want to give away the whole thing. But both of them are defeated. And we come to find out that the third-person narration is this character giving his report. And so I was like, that's a cool little way. So this is apparently Cloud9. And these characters, his name is Peter. And so he's supposed to be kind of like this philanthropist. And they're saying, should we let let Nicholas, our resident regenetics genius, he might be missing something. No, he is brilliant, but naive of matters of security and far too trusting of Excalibur's good intentions. So apparently there's like this genetic destabilization going on. And Kurt was, I guess, a victim of it. He goes, hopefully your status as illegal aliens will be quickly resolved. Hopefully, yes, Nicholas. Why does Peter believe this genetic destabilization is some form of enemy attack? Since we don't know the cause of the disease, every possibility must be explored, and a large organized force of parahumans could be considered as a martial threat by any nation that has discovered our existence. That is why Peter insists on maintaining maximum security. Your limited freedom was granted because of your willingness to assist us in finding a cure. Curing our parahumans is Peter's primary consideration. So even though they are allegedly free here, their powers are to a degree limited, but Kitty finds a way around it. And then we get this real funny cutaway with Lockheed, and I cannot remember this character's name. But anyway, I don't want to give it away. It's really funny, and it's a nice little levity to show you more that's building upon this story. But Captain Britain tries to break away. Very much you can see that's the movie, not The Running Man. Total Recall moment here. But Peter says, you must control your violent temper. If you indulge in your passions for mindless brawling, these gentlemen will accommodate you. I would advise against testing their mettle, Captain. Your powers are currently in decline. You don't stand a chance. And so again, Peter gives him the spiel of what's happening to all these parahumans, and he needs Captain Britain on his side. And he says, you even hurt the woman you love, which what kind of draws him into it. But what I love is the foreshadowing here with the artwork. And of course, if the artwork doesn't help drive the story, then what's the point, right? So as Britain agrees, he goes, what do you want me to do? Look at his eyes and just the subtle smirk. It's just a great little moment. Now, something happens with Kitty where we see that something happens to her, and yet she returns to Kurt to report on what she's finding. And as we come to the end, we finally get closure with both Rachel Summers and the Phoenix Force. So guys, there's a lot to unpack in this book. I just wanted to breeze over it because I want you guys to read this issue. Excalibur is definitely one of those X books that was slept on something fierce. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics and pick up this issue. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Phoenix bell next to subscribe, that way as I can upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you on hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. And if you enjoy what I do and you'd like to support the channel, I've left a PayPal link in the description. And if not, I still appreciate you checking out this video. Either way, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.